I went several months barely leaving my house unless I absolutely had to. I hardly spoke to my friends or my family. And then this coronavirus thing happened. That's a joke, so as to say that many people were living a lifestyle similar to the one that we are sort of state or federally mandated to abide by now. It was not much of a transition, sadly, for millions and millions of people. January to February, February to March just meant the option wasn't necessarily there rather than just choosing not to be chosen. And many of you might be confused what they say of the whole we're in this together, we're in this together. Here's my understanding of that phrase. If my neighbor loses her job, I lose my internet. So we're all in this together. So challenging. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create an outline, 3 major points. So the positive outcomes, if there are any, sort of digging through all of that to find the diamond in the rough. So positive outcomes, things that we were able to accomplish due to lack of distraction, and then methods for what I call reintegration, meaning as we venture into our own normal once all this subsides. So positive outcomes. I'm an avid bicycle rider. I don't like to say cyclist because cyclists always have those like fancy, weird suits that look like swimsuits, but giant helmets, and then all their life is stored on their back. So I ride a bike. And I have thoroughly enjoyed the fact that there has been so much reduced traffic over the last year. Now, another positive, a lot of people were really upset that toilet paper was so inaccessible, but I feel like the lack of toilet paper just made it that much easier to socially distance. Because if you didn't understand what 6 feet apart is, you definitely understood that you were in too much of a close range to realize the person you might have walked next to hasn't had toilet paper accessible in over a week. So I feel like it was just a built-in modifier. Now here, we have been conditioned, right? There's this long time phrase of the number one fear worldwide is public speaking, but that is not the case anymore. The number one fear worldwide is just public, whether it's speaking involved or not. And I don't know if many of you have ever heard this piece of advice. They say, oh, whenever you're giving a presentation, just imagine that your audience is in their underwear. I don't know, raise your hand if you've ever heard that. If you have trouble and you're scared, just imagine everyone in their underwear. Well, I don't know about you, but with the numerous web conferencing meetings that I've been a part of and all the cameras off and people being at home, I am certain I have given presentations to people who were actually sitting in their underwear. I'm just going to have to believe that any of you are wearing pants because the camera doesn't get to that point. And that's fine. You don't know if I am. We'll move on. Now, if you worked in a tense, congested office, you might be grateful that you don't have to deal with the body odor of some of your other coworkers. And maybe all you wanted to do was to gain access to the water cooler that I don't know why they placed there. Just bring a thermos. And now none of those weird, awkward, intrusive conversations have had to take place because your coworkers are back at their own house. And with the proliferation of Airbnbs, predominantly in these high demand areas where people wanted to live, now with lack of travel, there's less Airbnbs that are converted back into livable spaces. So now the people in your neighborhood are actually most likely your neighbors. I mean, when they come out of their house sometime in the next 2 years. And there's been a great environmental, benefits to it because we are doing less laundry because, as it turns out, sweatpants can be worn for several days on end. And so that's less potent detergents in the water. I mean, I could just go on and on. Couples therapy. Do you know that there are couples who pay thousands and thousands of dollars to be told by a complete stranger that they should stay in close proximity for an extensive period of time so they can see how compatible they truly are? Free of charge. This has expedited the divorce process so that way these lawyers can file everything and then the judge understands, all right, the next 23 people today all just want to be sick of each other. Well, why don't we just do 4 months? Oh, no, we've already done 12 months. Okay, yeah, you guys are fine. Go ahead, say bye-bye. And all the money that you would have spent on vacations have been going towards home improvement. And by home improvement, larger TVs, Of course. Now let's move on into what we've been able to accomplish. Staying with travel, lack of people flying means that people are actually reading the books that they own, not just for the 20 minutes it takes for the passenger sitting next to them to fall asleep. No, 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 they might actually get through a few hundred pages of these books. That's incredible. I mean, everyone here is reading all the time, right? Right? And I have been able to close all of the open tabs in my browser. I had more open tabs than the local alcoholic in the bars out here. I mean, I've been able to close out all the Google Chrome, the Microsoft Internet, and all the other ones that we're not going to speak about. Let's continue on. More accomplishments. You don't even have to know people now to argue with them or to gossip about them. Social media has been absolutely incredible. And there has been an increase in the amount of people who went ahead and voted, probably because it was only a few things open during that time, and they just wanted to be reminded what people looked like. It's been, and the ratings for the debates have been skyrocketing because it was either that or golf. So, I mean, politics are way more interesting than someone driving a golf cart, right? And I don't know about you, but I have learned so much from YouTube. And YouTube is my preferred method for education because my personal philosophy is I love getting out of my education what I pay for it. And YouTube's free. So there's no obligation for me to really learn anything at all. I have learned so much about how to avoid procrastinating. I've probably logged 40 to 50 hours watching tutorial after tutorial about how to avoid procrastinating. That's it. I've spent 40 to 50. Okay, we'll move on. And what I've accomplished too is I would watch movies, and movies, you know, maybe it's just because of the generation I'm in, but movies would feel so antiquated. I would watch a movie and I'd be like, this movie feels old because none of the characters have cell phones. How far back is this? But now movies feel old when none of the characters have masks on. I mean, it's been over a year. It's crazy. Now, no disrespect for the time, but I'm just really enjoying the people I'm talking to, which is not always the case. Methods for reintegration. Here's the real meat of all of this, right? Methods for reintegration. Some of the methods I've utilized. When you are walking along and you see a complete stranger who knows what to talk about, one thing that always works is you can just ask any stranger, excuse me, what day is it? People have forgotten. You just, I don't know. They all mesh together. I've been working from home, but probably working just as much from home as I did in the office. And so is it Wednesday? Is it Saturday? I used to go grocery shopping on Sunday, but who knows now? Now, the second thing is maybe you need a self-esteem boost. Maybe you're lonely. Maybe you're riding solo through all this. I have found that I have increased my trips to the drugstore, not because I need medicine, but because I want to constantly be reminded what it's like for a complete stranger to ask me for my phone number. It's so great. And they do that every time they check me out at the register. That's what I mean. Not with their eyes, hopefully with their eyes as well. Maybe some of you are starved for conversation. We don't, a lot of us here, great. We have this built-in mechanism of Toastmasters. Other people don't. Telemarketers are great practice for conversation. I mean, they're calling you about your extended vehicle warranty, right? But you are under no obligation to abide by that because if you don't yell or curse, they have to stay on the phone. So all you have to do is trickle in every 7 to 12 minutes interest in extending your vehicle's warranty, whether or not you even own one. They don't know that. You just keep talking. You just keep talking about your allergic reactions, about your coworkers, venting about your job, whatever you want. You can even ask them when your unemployment check's supposed to come in. They don't know, and neither do the people who work for unemployment. It's fine. But it's a great way to get that conversational muscle going. And finally, if you're one of those people that got pulled into the smartwatch market, it can be very, very disintegrating to your self-esteem because it keeps reminding you you haven't walked 2 miles today. All you have to do is lower, not your standards, but just the watch's standards, so that then you get all these achievements and beautiful green lights and sparkly stars for standing up. I mean, not against the government or your enemies, or no, just literally just standing, just stand for standing, for lowering your blood pressure by allowing blood to circulate past your butt and waist is what I'm saying. So look, like I said, I know that people have lost their job, they've lost their friends, they've lost their family. I will tell you, some people I know have lost their sense of taste, they have lost their sense of smell. But through all this, it does not make sense for us to lose our sense of humor. Continue smiling. Thank you.